Hello everyone, this is day 3 of 69 days of code. I am Rajat Upadhyay and today we'll be learning yet another new topic in software engineering. So in the last two videos, we learned some topics in Node.js. Those topics were day 1 was middlewares in Node.js and day 2 was proxy servers in Node.js. Now, both of these topics are like in general software engineering topics, not really Node.js specific, but like in general software engineering topics, and we implemented them in Node.js. Similar to that, today we also have another software engineering topic which is called MVC models. So MVC model is a software design, or you can say software architecture topic, in which you study how you can design your softwares in such a way, how you can design your application in such a way, so you have a more elegant design and you can manage it easier if your application size grows in size with time. And there is a good separation of concerns between different things and services that are going on. So we'll look into that in the coming time in the next few minutes. So what is MVC model and how do we implement it in Node.js? Why is it needed? What are the difference of MVC model or any other model that might exist? So MVC, first of all, stands for Model View Controller. So MVC, Model View Controller. And MVC model actually means that we will divide our whole application. So let's say that we have a Node.js application, we will divide it into separate parts. Okay, and these separate parts will have their own functionality and they will focus only on their own functionality and not on the other functionalities. So what that means is, let's say model stands for databases, right? For example, if you have done any code in MongoDB, you know that we define a model and a schema in MongoDB. So model stands for databases. View stands for the presentation layer, so the HTML file or the EJS files that you are sending, right? Or maybe the presentation data that you are sending to the front end. View stands for the presentation, and controller stands for the routes that we create. Okay, so this is a very easy way to understand it. So consider model as a database thing, view as a presentation thing, and controller as a route thing. So considering that, we have MVC, model view controller model. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen right now and I'm going to show you a demo server right now. And using that demo server, you will be able to understand what is MVC and how it is different from you can say a monolithic way of creating applications. Okay. Okay, so what I have here is a basic Node.js server. As you can see, it is index3.js. This is just the basic server. Okay, I'm including the application. I'm listening to port 6969. I'm creating a slash route. I'm just going to return hello cruel world. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's have another route over here. So app.get slash let's do anything, let's say social media, social. Okay, so social, and it is going to what I'm not really going to write any SQL statements over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to return some I'm going to write some comments that will help us understand what is going on. So let's say fetch some data from database, or let's say some fetch all social user profiles data from database and store it inside result. And let's say result is name Bob Dylan, interests music. Okay, and we'll put a const. So let's just consider that this result variable is actually storing all the data that is coming from the database. Right now, I'm not going to create a database instance and then fetch the database itself, because that is not the point of this video. Okay, so you already know how to do all of that stuff. So we are just assuming that we are creating a instance here. Okay, db.fetch. Let's say db something like this, db.fetch. Okay, select star from social.users, something like this, right? And then we are saying result is equals to this. So we are doing something like this. Okay, and this is helping us to get all the data from the database. Now what we'll do is we will return this, return res.send data, and data is the result, right? Okay, awesome. So this is it, and let's run this. Node index3.js. Okay, this runs just fine. And I'm going to share my screen again to make a request to localhost 6969. So we have to go to localhost 6969/social. And we can see the data is coming back as name, data, name, Bob Dylan, and interest music. So just consider this as an application, as a social media application. What it is doing is it is fetching all the data of the users and it is returning that, right? Then let's create another route, app.post. Let's just create get only, okay. Social add name, okay. So we are creating another user and we are adding that user to the database. And I'm just going to take it inside the request parameters for now, so that I don't have to open postman and create a post request out of it. Const name equal to rack.params dot name, okay. Okay, rack.params dot name. So what we are doing here is we are saying store the data inside the database. So something like this. Result is equals to db dot execute insert into social dot users values. Let's say the name, right? Something like this. So what we are basically doing is we are saying that I'm not going to actually do it, but what is supposed to be here is there is supposed to be a query over here which is going to store the data inside the database for this name, okay. And then we will return res.send result stored in the DB, okay. Awesome. So it is done, right? And let's just call it for. So we'll go over here. So /social /add/ anything. You know what? Just add anything. Priyank. Okay. Okay, it's saying it cannot get it. Okay, sorry. We have to restart the server. Okay. So we are not running it with the node mod. We are running it with the node itself. So index3.js. And if you go back and run this again, stored in the DB, right? And just very simple, very plain. Let's create another one final route, app.get /social/delete/name. Okay, so let's say we are passing along a name and we want to delete that name, we want to delete that profile. So again, const name is equals to rack.params.name, okay, and delete the profile from DB on which the name is given name, okay. So some request is going on and we'll just return res.send result profile deleted, okay. Done. And then we'll just restart the server again and /social/delete. So /social/delete and let's say Anuradha, okay. Profile deleted, right? So that is how it is working. And what we have done is we have created 3 simple routes in Node.js. But what if I want to now this, as the number of routes increase, right, it can become very, very complicated. So the index.js file or the app.js file, your main file will become more and more complicated. So what we can do is we can put these /social ones inside another router file, right? So routes.js. And we'll do the same thing over here like this. We'll just say express.router, I guess. I'm not sure. Express.router like this. And const router is equals to express.router, and then we'll say router.get /sync_res, okay, and module.exports equal to router. Here we'll just return rest.send hello buddy. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll import it from here. So const social routes equal to require dot slash routes. Okay, and we will just say app.use slash my social comma social routes, like this, right? So what should happen whenever we are calling my social, it should go to this and return hello buddy, right? If we have done everything right. So sorry, node index 3.js. So it's saying not found. Oh, okay, I went inside some other project folder. I'll just run it over here. It's much easier. x3.js, right? Running. What we will do is we will go to slash my social and hello buddy, right? So we have created another file. So what we can do is we can shift all of this. And instead of my social, we'll just put social, okay? And we'll shift it over here. And we can delete slash social because you have already added that over there. So if you know how to do this, you know, most probably I think you know it already, how to create this router. If you do not know how to create this router, I'll drop some videos in the chat, in the GitHub link given below in the description chat. In the description, you can visit that GitHub link repo. Okay, you can go to code day 3 code, and there you will find a readme file. Inside that readme file, you will have some resources just like this one, right? So there is a resources here for the day 1. You will have the resources for day 3, which is today's day. Okay, so let's check this out if it is working. We should get back Bob Dylan, right? Let's just run it with NodeMon itself. Okay, app is not defined. Okay, sorry, we have to change this app to router. Yes, correct. Router, and now it's running, right? So what we'll do, we'll go to slash social and we should get the Bob Dylan. So we get Bob Dylan interest music, right? Now the problem is, even in this case, it is kind of becoming complicated, right? And you know, there is not one, okay, there is not really one place where, you know, all the database logic is happening. So if database logic is just a completely separate thing, right, from the logic of returning the data itself or handling the request itself, right? So it's a completely different logic. So this database should happen in a different file. So that is what modern view control actually means. We will take out all this database stuff, okay, inside a new file. So we'll create a db.js file, okay, and here we'll create a function, let's say fetch, okay, and this fetch will take an SQL query, okay, and it will run the SQL query, okay. Let's say this is a query, and return the data and return the result. Let's say return the result, right? And then we'll remove all of this from here. We'll remove all of these query requests that are coming from here, and we'll just call that function itself. So something like fetch, and we'll pass along our query only, right? So in this way, we don't have to deal with the whole database thing, right? We don't have to deal with fetching, making the request, you know, commits and cursors inside a RDBMS or in MongoDB. We don't have to deal with models and, you know, schemas and everything. We don't have to deal with promises. You know, in MongoDB we have promises when we write, let's say users.find, okay, and then we write .catch. We don't have to write all of that, right? So any, if we consider MongoDB, so any data like this, right? Users, okay, come on, users dot find, okay, something like this, right? And then then result, right? And then catch error. So all of this, right, this kind of complicates the code, right? And we are complicating the router itself. So if you want to make any change, it becomes difficult. So you can just put all of this code, take it up from here, and put it inside this function, right? And this function, it will handle it. So the complete database unit has been separated out from the routes, right? From the get route, delete route, post route, it has been separated out inside a new function or inside a new file. So there is a good separation of concern. You can easily manage that. You can even easily, you can say, unit test this. You can easily replicate this over different projects that you're creating in the future, right? It is much easier to manage. It is much easier to consolidate errors, right? So all of these things happen, and that's why that's why the MVC model is very good. So in MVC model, this is called the model, right? This file, which is handling all the database queries and returning the data. This is called the controller itself, which is actually taking the request coming in from the browser or coming in from the client side and handling it. Okay. And the view means returning an EJS file. So let's say if I had any EJS files over here, and instead of saying res.send, I was saying res.render home.ejs, right? And I was passing along the data like this result. Then this would be the view, right? So again, I will create another file over here for views, and I will pass along this data to the views, and the views will return it instead of returning it from the controller. So controller is just connecting the model and the view, nothing else, right? And with the client side, right? And nothing else it is doing, right? So that is how it is different from our monolithic, you can say, architecture, in which we are creating all the routes inside one single file. Databases there, views are there, EJS files are there, your request parameters are there, everything is there, and it becomes kind of a curry, right? Everything is mixed up, right? So that's why it is important we can use MVC models in our daily life, and our NodeJS applications become much leaner and much elegant and easier to manage. Okay, so what I have with me are a few images that explains actually how it all combines together. So you can see that inside this image there is a request coming in from here, right? There is a request coming in from here, number one. There is a controller. So this controller is the actual route app.get or router.get, which is handling the request flow. It will never handle the data logic itself, because that data logic is handled by the model, right? It will never make the DB queries itself, right? No, it will not do that. It will only handle the request parameters, and it will combine model and view and return the data back, right? So what it is doing is it is asking for data over here, and model is handling the data, right? So model, which is a database unit, it is making the calls, SQL calls or MongoDB calls. It is getting the data, returning the data back. Then it is giving that data back to the view. So this view can be a simple function, which is modifying the data, refactoring the data, formatting the data in a certain way to return to the front end, or this can be returning EJS files itself, right? So if you're using Django, you can return, right? You can directly return HTML files. Let's say if you're using some other application like C# or something, right? Then if you don't want to return HTML files, you want to return formatted data, right? Let's say you want to format the date from YYYYMMDD format to a string format, sort of say 2021 Feb 24, right? In that format. So this view can also use to handle that, and it converts the actual data into the presentation form. It returns it back to the controller, and controller returns it back to the browser or the client side, whoever is trying to access the data, who is trying to call that route. Okay, so this is MVC model. I'll provide a few links inside the GitHub repo, inside the README. The GitHub repo link will be in the description box. You can check over there. Okay, and if you're still confused, which I'm sure you will be, you can check out those videos. You can check out those articles to study MVC models. And I will see you again. Okay, one more thing. If you want to participate in the 69 days of code, you will find my LinkedIn profile below. You will find my Twitter profile below. You can tag me. You can provide a hashtag 69DOC, and you can study every day some new thing. If I find your videos or Medium articles that you write, you can share them with me. If they're good enough, if they're resourceful, I'll share them along in my network. So I have like a huge network actually of my own email marketing, my own message marketing through WhatsApp. So if you have a really good, in the 69 days of code journey, you have created something great, some Medium articles, some YouTube videos, some projects, you can share it with me, and I can share it along with my network, create a sort of environment which we all learn and grow together. I'll see you again day 4 with yet another new topic. Until then, bye.